Everybody, welcome once again to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Raj Giri and Mr. Matt Morgan. Tonight, we're talking about Battleground 2017. Oh my God, the Great Khali makes an appearance at the end. The Punjabi prison match, the tag team titles change. We have a new #1 contender for the women's championship, new U.S. champion. Matt, what did you think of the pay-per-view tonight?
Wasn't. I actually don't think I was gonna. I would not have watched this if we didn't have to cover it on the show here. Honestly. Seriously, I was interested in KO versus AJ. That was really it.
Yeah.
Going into it, you know. I don't know. I didn't like a lot of things on this one. But you know.
Yeah, it was some of these storylines just need to die. There needs to be a big reset button. And one thing that was great after Battleground last year was we had the draft around the same time.
Right.
So we had a fresh course forward building up to SummerSlam. Now I just feel we're going to be on the tail end of the epilogue on some of these feuds if they keep going. Raj, what'd you think tonight?
I thought it sucked. I thought the show was I loved the opener. I was like with the New Day, I thought that match was awesome. I was like really into it. I was like, oh, this show could be, one of those that outperforms. Like you're not expecting much from it, but it turns out to be awesome, and it just went downhill after that. The top matches, I thought Cena and Rusev was boring, and then the main event, I thought, it just dragged for way too long. And these Punjabi prison matches are just never good. And I hope they do away with this gimmick. But Khali, that was kind of a cool surprise. But other than that, I thought the show sucked.
Yeah. Well, let's go match by match, see if we can dissect this and figure out the different levels of suckitude. Started with the pre-show, Ty Dillinger versus the Aiden English. Matt, I don't know if you watched this, but
yeah, I did. I liked it.
Yeah, the match was good.
I liked it. I didn't like the finish, but I don't know. At least it keeps what's the dude's name? Aiden English.
Yeah.
Somewhat, as a character, because until tonight I didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah. Or
what he's been up to, or I just know that he cries every once in a while. Other than that's all I know from someone who doesn't watch SmackDown regularly. That was a cool match for what it was worth, but meh.
Yeah, Raj, what do you think, man? I mean, I feel like these guys are having a pre-show level feud here. It's not even on SmackDown most weeks. Now, as bad as this is, I mean, look at Harper and Rowan. They weren't on TV tonight, or they weren't involved in Dolph Ziggler. Or were they? Yes. We'll talk about that later. But Ziggler's not doing anything. So, I mean, we talked about this before. The upside is you're involved in the pay-per-view, but the downside is it's just this complete pre-show fodder.
I think that was good, though, to showcase two younger talents in that spot than seeing another Dolph Ziggler match.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Seeing those two big goofs run into each other for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's not looking good for Ty. He's already relegated to the pre-show, and he loses cleanly with that, which I just never get what this guy needs to do to get a little bit of backing. NXT, he lost every time, like every big match, and they're kind of going that way with him on the main roster. So I don't know. I think Aiden English, I kind of like that gimmick. You could get him in the Drifter, have them like 2MB or something, but
go rock some open mics.
Yeah. So I was surprised that they had Aiden English go over here. I thought it was like meant for Ty to win.
Me too.
Yeah, the betting odds, the smart money came in about an hour before the show, and I remember just being really surprised about that one.
What kind of degenerate gambler do you have to be if you're placing money, not on professional wrestling, but on Aiden English versus Ty Dillinger? You're like, I don't know, man.
Or pro wrestling in general. I don't understand how you can bet on pro wrestling with all the hookups backstage. Like, I can call anybody and find out the finishes right now if I wanted to. Like, I can't believe that's a real thing that you can bet on it.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah. No, you can. I mean, you could have made a lot of money tonight if you bet on on AJ. I mean, if you bet on Kevin Owens, because AJ, that was the one match that they had wrong.
I saw KO winning because as soon as they swapped it at switched it at MSG,
yeah,
I know it was coming right back. Kevin needs it more than AJ does.
You think they're going to stick with this feud? I mean, I guess we'll get to that in a minute. But.
Yeah, I do. I think through SummerSlam they will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want stories. So in the comments on our podcast on YouTube, on there, I want to follow the journey of someone who bets and makes money off these pay-per-views. So maybe we'll have you as a guest on a Wednesday show. I want to talk to somebody who does this legitimately as a money-making thing.
There are a lot of sites where you could do it.
Yeah,
where you could bet. So
fascinated by this. So high point of the night, perhaps, kicked off the show, the SmackDown Tag Team title match between the New Day and the Usos. With the New Day winning the SmackDown Tag Team titles for the first time. Matt, what did you think of this match?
Those guys don't need the tag titles, but great match. Probably the match of the night, in my estimation. Yeah, I think that was match of the night.
Yeah, nothing. I don't think anything was even close.
Even AJ KO.
I thought AJ and KO was just, I thought that was going to be, but that ended up being disappointing.
Yeah,
but yeah, this opening match was just awesome. I thought New Day and the Usos, they work well together. Last month their match was great until the finish. So yeah, they bring out the best in each other. So I thought this match was awesome. It was a great way to kick off the show.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think New Day goes from here? Do you think it's just going to be a rematch at SummerSlam with them and the Usos?
Probably. And who else do they got?
I know. Who knows, man? The Usos could turn out to be the culprits in the Brazongo thing. Maybe we'll have a nice little lateral move there. But yeah, this was a great match.
And move the Ascension for the New Day.
Yeah, hey, wouldn't be the first time. Probably not the last either. But no, that was a great match. A lot of great spots in there, especially with Kofi being out for so much of the match. I thought it was really, really well done. Great way to start the show. And then we went into Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin, with Shinsuke winning by DQ. I'm sorry, Matt.
What did they do to Shinsuke Nakamura?
God, they're shooting him in the feet. I mean, they're just chopping his legs off.
No, dude, they threw a fucking 250-pound albatross around his neck and threw him in a lake. Like, what the fuck are they doing? You had an idiot-proof, paint by the numbers, copy what he did at NXT gimmick in front of you, and you guys had to fuck with it. You had to make the Japanese guy was incredible, who doesn't speak the language too well, go out and cut promo after promo after promo. You fucking morons. You goddamn idiots. And they lost a not lost, because he could still turn it around, because he is that good. But for now, you lost a bona fide main event SmackDown star, you idiots. Like, seriously. What the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
I can't disagree with you. I mean, I've just been scratching my head every week. And then tonight, it was just like, this did nothing for him. If he wins by DQ, then gets then he's writhing in pain as his music is playing.
It's ridiculous.
It gets laid out again.
It's such bullshit. I'm all about pushing new talents, but I'm sorry, Skullet ain't the one to be pushing over Nakamura. and fucking bitch tit. Like, he needs to friggin' do something with his body, because him working out in that shirt, wrestling in that shirt is just tells me he's out of shape and looks like shit. So I'm covering up my man boobs and my little beer gut with a shirt. And they must really like him to allow him to do that. And he's improved immensely. Now, I'm not taking anything away from that guy. Yeah. But nonetheless, he's not the one to be putting over on Nakamura. And Nakamura, in my opinion, he should just start to be selling now. He should have had 6 months of like what they did with him in NXT, where he just not sells everything, but registers.
Yeah.
And keeps coming out of these matches, pretty swift and quickly, with him dominating. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what would have gotten him over with the main audience. He didn't fail; they failed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tonight, him starting to have his little showcase comeback in the match, and then the DQ.
Yeah, and it looks like it's continuing, obviously.
Ugh.
So I guess that's your SummerSlam match, is Nakamura and Corbin. So all these people who were hoping for Nakamura and AJ something like that.
I was
too. But it looks like they're going to be running in place. The Styles Owens feud never took off, and it's just been there. And I don't think you need another pay-per-view out of it.
Didn't they have matches together or no? Like, I've seen a good match between those two. I just don't remember when.
Yeah, last year when Styles first came. Yeah, or was it 2 years ago? Styles been there for 2 years now, right?
A year and a half.
You're gonna change 2 survivors.
Yeah.
Two Royal Rumbles rather. Yeah, I thought they'd put together some good matches in the past. I could have sworn they have. So like I was excited for this, but it's just like you said, it wasn't good. It was too, honestly, it was too slow. I can't believe I'm saying that. But it dragged.
Yeah, I was shocked. It's weird when, you know, Cena and AJ have better matches than AJ and Kevin Owens. Makes no sense.
You're right.
Yeah. So the women's match tonight, fatal 5-way elimination: Lana versus Charlotte Flair versus Tamina Snuka versus Becky Lynch versus Naomi, leading to Natalya being the new #1 contender.
Not Naomi. Naomi was on commentary.
Not Naomi. Yeah, that's right. Naomi. Why does it say that? I'm reading off the website, people. Don't blame me for this.
Yeah.
Charlotte instead of Naomi. Lana, Tamina. Yeah, whatever. Natalya instead of Naomi. So Natalya won, #1 contender. Naomi on commentary. So let's talk about the match. I mean, this actually went by fairly fast, it seemed like.
Good. and the right person won, in my opinion. Natalya is a fucking workhorse.
Absolutely.
And for years, I've been saying she deserves her damn props. And these girls, you know, the pillow fighting girls, TNA, tits and ass rather, type girls came in there for like a minute. And they were in that direction. And she was on the back burner. Then they brought in the friggin' Women's Revolution, girls that can work. And you put your best worker on the back burner then? Idiots. And so now she's getting her just due, and I'm happy for her. And she's the perfect foil for baby super duper over baby face, in my opinion. Naomi is all smiles. She's happy go lucky. She's a good baby face. And her entrance is bad as hell. I love her entrance. And I don't know. I think it's a great matchup. Naomi's going to improve because of this.
Yeah. I just think that just with the way they pushed Natalya, this just seems like they're going to have this match on the pre-show.
Unless Carmella cashes in.
Unless they did a Carmella cash.
You don't think this is a SummerSlam match?
It could be, but with the way they've booked Natalya over the last year.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because I think there'll be a cash in, it'll make the main card.
Yeah, if there's a cash in for sure. But I don't know. Charlotte versus Naomi seemed like the way to go, but they've kind of.
I love that too.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Charlotte, but she's becoming less and less of a factor every week since this brand split. I mean, the brand extension. Yeah. The draft.
I think she'll get the belt off Carmella at the next pay-per-view, first SmackDown pay-per-view after SummerSlam, if not an episode of SmackDown Live.
And sometimes this happens. You know, you can't be at the top every single. You know, time. And unfortunately, because they conjunct all the girls together a lot, you know, put Charlotte in these awkward spots where she's like fourth fiddle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but I think she's good enough. Every time I watch it, she stands out every single time as the bigger star. So I don't think it's hurting her per se. It's just a holding pattern, you know, as you would say.
Yeah, that's true.
I still feel like since they got her dad off the show, I don't think they've known what they wanted to do with Charlotte as a character. So maybe we'll see a new wrinkle in her face run going up against Carmella. After
it's weird. You don't need to do anything. She's killing it as a heel. So why mess with that?
It's the WWE, man.
She just started getting comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
On the mic especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird too. It's kind of a weird thing that they mess with stuff that's working, but then let something that doesn't work just go forever.
Like Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, just run beyond its natural course.
Yep.
So Kevin Owens versus AJ, we touched upon this earlier. KO won. I like the back and forth and thought the match was good. What was up with the finish and perhaps the slowest 3 count I've ever seen in a WWE match?
I didn't notice it being slow. I couldn't see Kevin's shoulders to know if they were flat on the. I know what they were going for, a double pin there, but they didn't do a good job, surprisingly, because their camera work is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what makes WWE like stand out versus other companies, in my opinion, is their camera work. They zoom in on the faces at the right time. They zoom in on everything. The cameraman have wrestling savvy. You know what I mean? They can anticipate things. That's huge. And they missed this one, surprisingly. They didn't get a good angle of that. So I couldn't tell if his shoulders were squared off or not. Maybe they did that on purpose. So we got to come back to SmackDown and see what AJ was bitching about. And then maybe they'll show it from a reverse angle and be like, oh, shit, his shoulders were pinned. You know, maybe that was their idea.
Yeah, that finish just seemed clumsy, like with the ref bump and the ref selling the injury. Dude,
he tossed AJ. He tossed AJ though. It looked real, that part.
Yeah, no, the bump itself, but how he reacted to it, like where he's just kind of like playing with his eyes and just hanging out in the corner. And it felt like 10 minutes, but it was like a minute or whatever. But it just came off as odd, and I think after that sucky Baron Corbin ending to come with this, it was. But you had the title change. But
they killed the crowd.
Right.
The match killed the crowd. Corbin versus I've never heard a crowd not chant AJ Styles, and we didn't hear it tonight.
Yeah, it kind of never really came back after that match. The crowd was
where were
dead. Philly, Pittsburgh, right?
Philly.
For Philly, okay.
Wow.
They got burnt out during the pre-show with those annoying ass chants all throughout the pre-show talking segments. The crowd was weird tonight. Flag match: Rusev versus John Cena.
I wanted to fast forward this so bad, you have no idea.
This was terrible. I think the problem is you knew the ending. This was the one match you knew for sure what the ending was. And when you get the crowd going for Rusev in a flag match, and it should be easy heat, but they were dead, still booing Cena. And
I think they were so uninterested that I almost thought Cena was cheered for slightly.
Yeah,
he got a good pop at the end.
Yeah, at the end he did. You're right. But like during the match, when he first came out, they were still booing him.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to get involved in a feud with Bulgaria when there's like.
Anyway. So Matt, let me ask you this from a wrestler's perspective, because I was thinking this during the Punjabi prison match. I was thinking this during the flag match. How hard is it to sell the simple action of putting a flag in a goddamn flag stand to be like, oh, it's this, I'm just having so much time, so much of a struggle to do this, to climb over the person, to climb up a ladder. Simple tasks that anyone could do in a split second to sell that as a tough task.
And the whole thing about putting it on the stand, they've never done that before, right? The flag match was always you just get the flag.
Yeah.
Because I remember Rusev got the flag. I was like, wait, is that it?
Same here.
Yeah, I was like, that's a really flat finish, but surprising. Yeah. And then
Rusev sold putting that flag into the flagpole in the holder as like the toughest thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they do.
It's because you're so beat up. You're selling still. It's ridiculous. It'd be like going to take, like, if you were to like film us going to take a piss after a match after you just got your ass kicked and you're still working because the camera's on you. It'd be the same thing. You'd be fiddling around with your Peter for like 20 minutes on the cell because your wrist is still hurt from the match, or you're slightly dizzy and you're still selling, and you're walking in the bathroom and you bump into one wall and you walk into the next. You fall down. You crawl to the urinal. You pull yourself up. That's their thinking.
Yeah. So did they ever explain the rules to this on SmackDown, or was it just tonight they kind of made it up?
I never heard them.
Yeah.
They kept elaborating.
Tonight was the first.
Yeah.
About putting it back in the flag stand tonight was the first I heard of it.
Yeah.
Just so, and in Philadelphia, you got to think, if there's any crowd that's just sick of being pandered to about patriotism, it's got to be Philadelphia, right?
Sure.
Yeah, this just comes across as so 80s, and Rusev deserves a lot better.
Very 80s.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have heat, brother?
Does he?
Maybe. Who knows? It seems like every few months you hear about
He should have won tonight. It would have been a better finish. John Cena, a loss is never going to hurt him. It would have given Rusev some momentum.
I think with the promos he cut, though, it would make it impossible to.
Did you notice when they re-showed the package, they left in Normandy, the Civil War, they took out 9/11. They took out that reference tonight, which I thought was interesting. Going to talk about the rest of Battleground in a moment, but first want to give some love to the sponsor of this episode, and that's DDP Yoga. Now, you've heard us talk about Diamond Dallas Page. He got inducted in the 2017 WWE Hall of Fame, and now he's going on the DDP UK Tour in September, doing inspirational Q&As and conversations with DDP in Glasgow, Manchester, Birmingham, and London. If you saw his Hall of Fame speech, you know he could tell some inspiring stories, and you can also experience a DDP Yoga Workshop in Harrogate, Glasgow, Newcastle, Manchester, Birmingham, and London. Go to ddpuktour.com to reserve your spot and find out all the details. This is going to be great. You're going to get to see him talk. You can do some DDPY with him, take some selfies, get some autographs. Going to be a great time. And right now, he's got a sale on the DDP Yoga Now app, which is used by the likes of Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, Mick Foley, and tons of other WWE stars who love using DDP Yoga. This app has everything you need, 150 workouts, including live DDPY workouts from the DDP Yoga Performance Center, as well as endless, healthy, great-tasting cooking shows. And right now, you can get the app and the DVDs for 20% off. So take advantage of this summer sale. Head on over to ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Use the promo code SUMMER17 at checkout to save 20% off, and go to ddpuktour.com to reserve your spot for his UK tour. We congratulate Diamond Dallas Page and all his success. Go check him out when he's in the UK, and we love having DDP Yoga as a sponsor. So kind of a cool down match after the flag match, but before that we had the Fashion Files segment with Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Gave us a little false finish there with the Ascension coming in and taking credit for the attacks on the Fashion Police office. But then lo and behold, Breezango get knocked out, the lights go off, and dragged away to be continued. Matt, who do you think the culprit is?
The way they were dragged out of there, it tips it off that it's somebody that's like, I don't know, animalistic. You know what I mean? Not your normal. Is there anybody with a gimmick like that? Like
Rowan?
Guys from NXT?
Yeah,
Rowan and Harper.
I was going to say Rowan and Harper again, maybe. It was my next guess. Yeah. Or the two dudes from NXT.
They could do like Sanity or something. But I don't know. It's not some comedy feud, right?
That's true.
And Harper and Rowan, they're not doing anything, so it could be them. It came across kind of Wyatt-ish with how the lights went out, and it's kind of creepy in there. So.
And being dragged away like a horror movie type thing.
Right. Yeah, it got kind of creepy there at the end, which I kind of like that. So this was probably the third best thing on the show. Was this?
It was.
Maybe Rowan and Harper will get a kind of refined gimmick, something that breaks them away from the Wyatt family. Maybe they'll have like a new name as a team. Maybe it'll be a creepier angle. That seems where Rowan was going at least. Could be good, but man,
something different would be good for them, because otherwise they're just running in place.
Yeah, people in the chat are saying maybe Sanity. We talked about that before. The Authors of Pain. Could you imagine if it were Sanity, how just pissed Rowan and Harper would have to be to have Sanity come in doing like a similar riff on that gimmick? Granted, theirs is like post-apocalyptic a bit more, but I think that would be weird to launch them in a comedy feud. Speaking of weird gimmicks and feuds. Myka Maria Kanellis versus Sami Zayn tonight. Sami Zayn got the win after losing on SmackDown. Matt, what do you think about this and how this gimmick is going over for the Canelli?
He's either being tested, he being Mike, or he's legitimately being ribbed, which is ridiculous because, no offense, WWE, you guys aren't that hot shit where you guys have the roster to be fucking around with dudes' careers like that and ribbing them like that.
Yeah.
That dude's a fucking massive talent. You guys aren't that good. You know what I mean? Where you could be ribbing people like that and then burying them, which I never understood. And a lot of people in the offices that no longer work there anymore are like, oh, we never do this stuff. They're bullshit. Yeah. There's times where they've done stuff like that just to rib a guy. Here's the thing. If I'm Mike Kanellis, you better believe your ass that I am the baddest mother you-know-what on the planet when it is time to get heat on my opponent. Like, the ref will have to rip me off my opponent from mounting him with punches. And my facials, my body language, everything will just be so vicious because that's what I need to do to make up for the bullshit gimmick they gave me where my wife has my nuts in her pocketbook, while I'm in the ring. And I get the dichotomy of it, but he's not the one to put it on, man. Mike, I don't know what you would do with him, but I wouldn't have done this with him. And this just tells me, like, Vince says, oh, Maria's back? Oh, that's immediately. She's the bigger star, in Vince's eyes. And real quick, just very important, I'll reiterate this because this is very important. Mike Kanellis has got to do a better job of fucking lighting up his opponents, and they've got to stop that fucking blowing kisses bullshit in the middle of his heat. I understand there's heat behind it, being cocky and arrogant. He's not there yet. He's still getting beat, So he's being considered like a pussy because of his wife wears the pants. So until he can establish himself like Rico used to do, who was a gay character, mind you. But when it was time to get heat on his opponent, Rico was a bad mother, you know what? He was really good at getting steam and looking the part with his kicks and his punt. Everything was aggressive as hell, like a pit bull. That's how Mike needs to be.
And
if this is going to work.
Yeah, I felt like when they debuted this gimmick last month, I even said this is death. You know,
but,
unless.
Well,
yeah, it's death. I mean, it's going to be hard to.
It's tough to come back from. Yes, it is. I agree.
And already, I mean, it's his first pay-per-view match, and he gets beat clean. So it's not looking good.
I like Sami won a match. though, for the record. I love Sami Zayn.
His pay-per-view record's not that bad because he beat Baron Corbin a couple last time, right?
Yeah, they make it count.
I thought a couple times, yeah.
But Matt, you touched upon how to save this, and you know the one great moment I think Mike has had so far is when he smashed that vase over Sami's head because it was unexpected, it was extra vicious. They should almost make that the gimmick that Maria just gets really turned on seeing him be a sadistic F, you know, just being this vicious, ultra-violent guy. And that would make it really interesting. But
if they went like Mickey and Mallory, you know, as opposed to, you know, Mickey and Minnie Mouse, that would work way better.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what it is, unfortunately. He looks like such a bitch coming out into the ring.
The jacket with her picture and her jacket with her picture. I mean, it was just like
and listen to me, the writers were like, that's the whole point, you big goof. That's the heat behind it. Nobody wants that heat.
No.
That's turn the channel heat, and that dude is way too talented to be put around that.
Yeah. It's kind of cutting the legs off somebody before they ever got a shot, you know. So
big time, and they had him lose, which is I don't mind somebody coming in and losing early because I know they're being tested usually when that happens, when they kind of have a name on the indie scene, but. This is different, I just feel, and I don't think they know what they have with him. Unfortunately, I just think they think Maria's the shit, you know.
Yeah. Was this Ty Dillinger's real quick about people losing? Did Ty Dillinger have another pay-per-view match before tonight? Was this his first?
Yeah, he had a pre-show
before tonight.
He had another pre-show. Yeah, I could have sworn he did. He won a match versus I think Aiden English.
Okay.
I could be wrong, and I don't even watch him, and I know that. How about that?
Yeah, I'm forgetting, but.
Yeah, Backlash.
It was Aiden English.
Who did he beat?
He beat Aiden English.
See, that's why I get paid the big bucks here, folks.
Nice work. Jeez, man, you talk about these feuds never going anywhere. You have the same pre-show match, two pay-per-views in a row.
That's the point. I keep thinking about last summer. Here we are, a year later. Last summer, the draft was such a good shakeup to end a lot of these go nowhere dead end feuds. And now we're back in a situation with just no end in sight to this stuff.
See, here's the thing. They don't need another draft, though. They don't need to do that. They've got the talents. They're just not matching them up right. They couldn't have done a work. SmackDown went from the hottest show to a shit show.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like they just need, in creative, they need to say, okay, let's end every feud we can end and just reconfigure this, change partners.
And it's frustrating because Jinder's the champion and he'll take the heat. They're like, when Jinder was a champion, we weren't drawn strong at the gates, and TV ratings were down at an all-time low. And bullshit, that dude's doing great as a champion.
Yeah,
for the record.
least of the problems. Least of the problems.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and he should be working somebody different, but that's a whole other story.
And I think he's got to now. I mean, you've got 3 pay-per-views where he beat Orton. It's got to be Cena, you would think. I mean, because everyone else seems taken.
Fine by me. And they need to do a different way. You can't keep. I mean, there is a lot of heat behind the 2 Singh brothers, especially Super Singh, who was able to get up from falling down from a 15-foot drop through a table and make a John Cena comeback toward the end there. That was great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to find different ways. They've got to get him winning matches other than that, cheating every single time.
Yeah, it gets redundant.
It does.
They should have just had Kali too, I think, this time, because I think the Singh brothers have been done every time.
Well, and here's the other thing. Look at him. I was watching him next to Orton. His physique is more impressive than Randy Orton's.
Oh, yeah.
So like, he looks like just a big, if not bigger star than Randy, physically. So it's not one of those deals where, oh, how unbelievable would it be for Jinder to beat Randy? No, it's not. Look at the two.
Yeah.
Look at the two physically. And if this was a real fight, I have money on Jinder just as much as I would on Randy.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be like, oh, Randy's going to wipe the floor with him.
Yeah.
So why in wrestling do we do that? I once was supposed to what was it? I was supposed to go over on Mick Foley at a TNA Booker, one of the two, and one of them was having a problem with it, and I don't blame him because Vince was just going to throw it out on TV with no build up, no nothing, and like in 5 minutes I was going to beat one of those two. I forget which one, and I don't blame them. One of them at the time I was a little pissed, but in reality, once I had time to let it sit in, I was like, well, these dudes, that's their brand, and I kind of agree with them that they're not building and hyping this up enough. I understand what they're saying, and try not to take it so offensively, but then. After a while, I was like, hold up. I'm 7 feet, 300 pounds and fucking jacked. So I would whip both of your asses in a real fight. Hate to break the news to you. So there's nothing unrealistic about that.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean by that? Like, I remember thinking that to myself, going, taking this a little too serious.
Well, that's like, Roddy Piper in the 80s wouldn't do the job for Hogan, But I guess that's neither here or there. But
like physically speak, like, you know what I mean? I look at some of these guys, I'm like, what? Like, it's not that, like, people are like, oh, Jinder should be able to win clean by now. He just should be. He looks the part. He's a good ass wrestler. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just gets redundant by doing the same thing every time. And and I think it would make him a bigger star if he beat Orton clean.
Yes, of course it would. Yes, because I kind of have it in my head like, oh, he's just going to have this until they give Randy Orton to the 14th title reign. Like, he's kind of holding it there.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the way it feels until he wins clean for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but I guess Cena and Rusev, it seemed like they finished that off. So yeah, great Khali's back. He looked like he's put on some weight. He looks a little.
You look like shit. What do you mean he looked like he put on some weight?
No, that's what I look fat.
He looked like a middle-aged 7'4" guy. He looked come on, man. He looked like he was about to give birth.
No, he looked bad. He looked like he aged 15 years.
Yeah, first appearance on WWE television in about 3 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey guys, guess who? He's nowhere near as shredded as.
Matt Morgan.
This guy.
Who, Khali or Jinder?
Khali.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Jinder, it's I feel like they don't treat him like a champion, even though he finishes the pay-per-views, but on SmackDown, like, his matches are never on last. He's like somewhere in the middle of the show. They just don't make him feel like a big deal.
You want to know something, Bill? Back in the 80s, they used to do that with Hogan. And I don't remember as a kid that happening. I remember watching MSG every Thursday night, and I could have sworn Hogan always closed the show. But I'm reading all these old school reports and TV reports, and they'd have Hogan like on middle of the card. And they'd have like matches with like Bret Hart and guys like that finish the show, and the British Bulldogs. Right. And so like, I never knew that. And my point is, as a kid, I never recognized who finished the show or not. And it didn't matter to me, I don't think. So I wondered, in today's day and age, does it really matter to the fans? I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of that was Hogan wanted to leave early. Like, he didn't want to stay. That's true. Like, he had this crazy schedules that they had to like jump in a car and go to the next town. So, but now on SmackDown, they're saying like, this is the main event, and the main event's Nakamura teaming with AJ, but it's never,
okay.
It's never Jinder. So,
yeah. So you think Khali's going to stick around and do something going into SummerSlam, maybe with Orton?
He'll be his heel.
Yeah,
sure.
I think he'll just be in his corner.
Yeah.
But I don't think he gets sick. I don't think he gets sick with Orton. It's been done too many times now.
He's gonna look sloppy as fuck doing it too.
Khali.
Yep.
Yeah.
That Punjabi prison match went on so long tonight. It just seemed, two parts seemed ridiculous. One, when one of the Singh brothers just crawled right through it.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool, except it was like, why are you making this big deal about escaping if you can literally just crawl right through it? And two, when
he could, because he's so small. They sold him being so small.
I looked at the other guys. I'm pretty sure they could have squeezed through there if they tried. But then Orton climbs up the inner one to go immediately to the outer one. And it was like, well, this is not an insurmountable task to get out of this thing. It's actually pretty simple, It just, I don't know, it kind of killed the mystique and allure of the Punjabi prison.
The hope was supposed to be, like, did you just see that? He just totally jumped across fence to fence. Like, that doesn't happen for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That match has got to suck watching it live, though, because it's got to be hard to see, and they don't have it on the screen. Did you notice that? Like, they just had the Battleground logo on the screens.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Horrible. You can't see anything.
Yeah, that makes no sense. But
I did like the fact they kept talking about it being reinforced, like steel with bamboo or whatever. The bamboo was reinforced with steel. That gave it a cool little twist.
But why even use bamboo in the first place?
Yeah.
Just use steel.
That's a good point.
Plus, bamboo is super hard when it's
because it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be Hindi. It's supposed to be Indian. It's supposed to be, I guess, in Vince McMahon's mind.
I've been to India several times, and I've never seen bamboo prison.
Have you ever been?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, have you ever been to a Punjabi prison?
That I have not, but I've seen prisons in Indian movies, and they don't have bamboo.
Well, Great Khali apparently is a cop, or used to be a cop, and I think he would know, as he's the creator of
it. Maybe back in the 1920s, Indiana Jones. They sold the hell out of that tonight. I mean, talk about trying to polish it. I mean, that was a case tonight where the announcers really tried to put the Punjabi prison over.
They did.
Yeah,
they definitely did.
They cut to the Indian announcers right as they were talking about the 1.3 billion. It's such a company line. It's kind of annoying. It's becoming the new $9.99.
Yeah. No one does pandering like the WWE.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's Talking Smack, which should be finishing up about now on the WWE Network. Now it's happening only after SmackDown pay-per-views. I'm curious to see how that is with Renee and Jerry Lawler.
Why not Daniel Bryan?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I think, based on all the stories we heard about why it's canceled, I think Vince probably wants a little more control, and Daniel Bryan doesn't need to be controlled. He doesn't care if he gets fired at this point.
Yeah. I think supposedly it's Vince didn't like the unscripted nature of that show, and Daniel Bryan would always be going off script, and he made it seem way more real too by doing that.
Yeah, but, he's the whole show for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lawler's just
or when Miz
he knows what to say. He knows what Vince wants to hear. So, but yeah, it makes no sense.
The only time it was good with Lawler was when KO came on and got his phone.
Yeah,
I think it was a Raw one though. It was hilarious when him and Jericho came on together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm gonna watch that when we get done here. We'll see how that compares to the OG Talking Smack. But where do we go from here, Matt? What do you think SmackDown needs to do to recover from this in between now and SummerSlam?
Something that they can't do. You keep talking about them hitting the reset button. They're not going to do that. I wish, if that's what you're asking me, that they would, and that they would. We have some really cool pairings that they really should be hitting. And I know they're like, oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. You're not going to get there because a Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be so goddamn under.
Yeah.
I just made that up. Opposite of over. That we're not going to even get there. We're not going to see him in his height versus AJ at his height.
Right.
Because they're killing him, man. They found a way to kill Shinsuke. I can't believe it. I thought this was the one Japanese wrestler that would come in and they would just leave alone and not fuck up. Like they wouldn't be carrying him to the ring like they did with Kenzo. They wouldn't, make him come out with a flag and all this other crap. They'd let him be his own deal, and they did, but they reiterated that they put him out there with his biggest weakness first, which is talking English. I mean, I couldn't go to Japan and talk Japanese, like they wouldn't expect me to do that. They had me come out and powerbomb everybody. That's how they got me over in New Japan when I first got there. Not talk language I don't know.
Right.
Really stupid, man. It's almost like they did it on, again, you want to think to yourself, did you do it on purpose? And you want to get mad at them and going, you have no right to be doing this shit on purpose. You don't have enough top flight stars to be doing shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, SmackDown, it's what you were saying earlier, Matt. Like, it was a hot show. Now it just sucks. I mean, it's
the shit show now.
Yeah.
It ain't the B show. It's the shit show. And that's horrible. With AJ Styles on your roster, Shinsuke on your roster, Dolph can always put in a good match. God, even Perfect 10. What the fuck are they doing with him? I like watching him. Even the dude Skullet, okay, when he's working the right person, I like. There's so many guys on there that I do like, but they just got them paired off with the wrong talent. So to answer your question, Glenn, they've got to pair people with the right the other side of the equation, the right opponents. Starting with no more Randy Orton versus fucking our boy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just don't get why Nakamura has a proven track record. Why feel like he needs to start from the mid card and then go up? You know, while he's hot, you know, strike while he's hot. Have him in the world title picture like right away. If the fans are into it, you know, and it's something new, it's different. He's hot, and you know, it gives the show a spark. But now, you know, by starting him in the mid card with this feud with Corbin that's going nowhere, and then he had Ziggler before that, it's just he's just another guy now.
Here's why they screwed up, okay, guys? In their defense, I know what their logic was. Going, well, okay, that's great. All the smart marks know who Shinsuke Nakamura is, but I could see Vince and everyone else going, but do the 6-year-olds know who he is? Does Johnny average wrestling fan know who he is? I don't think so. So we've got to find out and uncover who Shinsuke Nakamura, the person is, the character. So that's the reason for the promos. That was their attempt, in my opinion. And what they're failing to realize is, do they not listen to their own fans? Their fans, including the 6-year-olds, it's monkey see, monkey do. You have the smart marks start chanting Nakamura. Guess what? Within a month, those 6-year-olds are going to be buying the Shinsuke Nakamura T-shirts and not even know why. Just because the rest of the WWE Universe was chanting his name and singing us along with his entrance song.
Yeah.
And that's how he gets over. Normally, I would never say it should be like that. It should be based off of a guy's character getting becoming be able to be emotionally invested in that character with the fans. But when Shinsuke, he doesn't speak the language well, you can't do it that way with him. You got to let his work do it. You got to let his charisma do it. You got to let his entrance do it. You know, and they've managed to fuck that up. I'm mind boggled by that.
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me of like Goldberg when they brought him in, and they had to put their own. Not this last time, but you know, 10 years ago or whatever, they had to put their own spin on it, and they kind of killed his character. Now, they didn't kill it, but
with that, Goldberg had, you know, wasn't the rumor? I was there at the time. Wasn't the rumor that Goldberg had an ego and shit like that, and you know, we got to do things the WWE way. Like, it's a little different time. Here's Nakamura, who's super humble. Everybody likes him. Everyone's already had great matches with him. You know, he's a worker. He's not somebody you need to work around like you did Goldberg when he first came in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, so what my point is that you bring in someone that's money and then you take it away. You know, instead of sticking with what works, you putting this stupid spin on it, calling him the artist, doing all this stupid stuff, and you're just hurting your investment.
The artist? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, they haven't been referring to Aiden English as the artist in this run. They've been giving Nakamura that moniker. Yeah,
they've been calling him the artist. They had like a couple weeks where he was painting a picture. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they call him the artist, the rock star.
The rock star's cool. Okay, yeah, I get that.
Why not show footage from when they took him to Japan for the house show? Show how the crowds there react to him. Like, don't tell, show that reaction. Show that he gets a rock star reaction rather than just calling him that. And Ziggler cutting that promo with the goddamn Michael Jackson thing is still probably the single worst thing I've seen on WWE television this year. And that's saying something because there's been some really bad.
I watched it too because I was excited.
Yeah.
You know, about Nakamura coming in.
Yeah. So where do you think they go with Jinder for SummerSlam, Matt?
Now Khali's there. Randy's a baby face. Doesn't Randy need to get some sort of retribution here? I mean, he was fucked over again. I mean, I hope he doesn't, but like,
I felt like if he was getting it, they would have done it tonight.
Yeah.
But then they introduced Khali, and now it just tells me that it's just an extension. It's an extension cord to more shitness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because, I mean, this Orton Mahal feud has already felt like it's gone 3 months too long. So I hope
and none of this is on Jinder.
No.
They should just be dead by now.
Yeah.
On to the next.
It's just not interesting. And again.
And did you hear the fans tonight? Randy was. I'd be pissed too.
But yeah, you could tell he was getting annoyed with the crowd.
Jinder was,
and I'm bad like that as a babyface too. By the way, if I'm giving you my blood like that and I'm smacked open and you guys aren't reacting, fuck, you know.
Yeah.
I just want to, you know, that's why I'm truly a heel, really.
Well, there were parts where like, you know, parts of the crowd were chanting for Jinder, and you could see Orton getting really annoyed.
I like that.
Yeah. But I think Cena versus Cena and Rusev, that seemed pretty clean the way he beat him. So it seems like Cena and Jinder might, you know, it makes sense. I wouldn't have Cena win the title, I'd keep it on Jinder and then have Cena going for his, record-breaking title run at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns and have Reigns with the title.
This might just be. Do you think maybe they did this whole USA stuff with what's his name so they can gas up John Cena versus America versus India?
They could.
You know what I mean? John Cena versus Jinder next.
Yeah,
makes more sense than Bulgaria. I mean,
do you know what I'm saying though? Because
yeah.
now we're kind of programmed a little bit that John's Mr. USA, although I didn't need to see that to know that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's kind of what I was gathering from it. But
that'd be cool. And he better put Jinder over his on.
Yeah.
Now.
If Jinder survives, Jinder could come out of a feud with Cena looking like $1 million, and then we've got a main event heel that they can plug in with any other face on the roster at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's all they
need. And then hopefully Nakamura gets his steam back and you could move to something like that.
Yeah.
But man, Nakamura, AJ, Kevin Owens, these guys should be in the world title picture. And KO was just world champion 4 or 5 months ago.
And I think they did a great job, by the way.
Yeah. No, I thought he did really well. And AJ was spectacular. I mean, AJ has been on fire. And SmackDown is just, they could use all the help they could get. Do more with these guys.
This should be a microcosm of what tonight was. My wife goes, "Oh, you're gonna watch one of the pay-per-views tonight? You're gonna do your post pay-per-view podcast again?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I almost forgot." I'm like, "Yes," and so I got home from the gym, put the thing on. I go, fuck. And she was like, "What's wrong?" I go, "It's the SmackDown one. I was hoping this was like the big one with Joe and Brock and I was so let down."
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, just the interest level online, you could tell it's way down from Great Balls of Fire.
I bet you this is the lowest watched one in a while. I'd be surprised if it's not.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Raw, I don't know if in the Superstar Shakeup, Raw got a writer or two, but Raw knows how to tell a story all of a sudden. I mean, with the Joe thing, that was beautiful. How they built it, how they sold it.
Let that be an example, though, real quick. I've talked to Joe a little bit about this. Like, they're leaving him alone.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it isn't the writer. Sometimes it's the writers giving them some stuff and the friggin' wrestler taking the ball and running with it and doing more than what was originally written for him. And that's what's happening with Joe.
Yeah.
You cannot write. They don't know Joe enough like that to show that Joe that we've been seeing lately. That Joe we've been seeing lately is who Joe really is. And Joe is just doing it. And that's why it's so great to watch. And it's great TV. He's just shooting and it's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with SmackDown, with the exception of Breezango, I don't feel like they're telling a story with anyone.
Breezango is awesome.
But it's telling a story. They haven't. I mean, look, the way you write a compelling story is you start with where you want to go, and then you work backwards to have a compelling journey down that path. And I feel like Breezango is the only one that they know where it's going.
Right, like it's a storyline.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be satisfying, but look how they've built this up.
You think originally they knew, okay, these are the guys that are going to knock these two dudes out every week, and this is where we're going, so let's get there. And do you think they knew that right away?
I don't think they knew who the end candidates were going to be, but I think that they knew the type of story they wanted to tell, at least in the beats to get there. And that happens too, I mean, you see that in TV where they'll say, like, well, we started the season knowing we wanted something big like this to happen at the end. We didn't know exactly how we're going to get there, but we had some ideas, And so I don't know that it's been set in stone that it's Rowan and Harper since day one, but it feels, I mean, again, we know, like we talked about before with Goldust and R-Truth, Matt, they don't shoot all these things at the same time. It would probably be smarter if they did, but it feels like there's been a through line in all of this, even with what they were going to parody, like, oh, we're going to do Miami Vice this week, then we're going to do the X-Files this week. Like, there's thought going into it.
Fuji Vice they even did.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But I don't feel
Fuji Vice was awesome.
I don't feel the thought going into everything else in SmackDown.
No, it's just guys wrestling each other over and over again. It's kind of the same angles. So
sound like Vince Russo. Nobody wants to see wrestling, bro. I do. When it's good, I do.
But that's why Talking Smack people legit in the internet wrestling community legit pissed about the Talking Smack thing because that was the best way that SmackDown had to advance stories. Let us see more of the wrestlers, let us see more of the personalities, and get us invested in what they're doing.
Very true.
We don't have that now, or we only have it after pay-per-views.
I haven't seen the number of people going apeshit over the cancellation of Talking Smack. It's a lot. That's more than anything I've seen in a while. Like, people are really upset over that.
How do you like? Okay, dumb question. How do you gauge that?
Just all the articles online, the comments. You know, people starting petitions and crap
that people
like
are
that.
actually
Wow.
signing petitions.
Yeah.
People are actually
Wow.
signing over. Was it like 13,000 signed Max Landis's petition about it, which is silly, but people are participating.
Max Landis has a petition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he write for them?
No, I think he had a consultant deal after Wrestling Isn't Wrestling, but it may have expired.
That was so good.
Oh, that was fantastic. That should have been a series on the network. That would be huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Talking Smack thing, I think people are pissed about it. People that pay attention and care, you know?
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I think 205 Live kind of screwed it up.
Yeah.
Because when it was on right after SmackDown, it was perfect. And then you had to wait that hour after that.
Yeah. Well, anything else before we take it home here? And then in 23 hours, we'll be back to talk about Monday Night Raw, which, funny how the world turns. A few months ago, never would have thought, oh my God, so much looking forward to Monday Night Raw tomorrow night
Right.
to get away from this toxic waste dump that is SmackDown.
Yeah.
Right.
What do they got on Raw tomorrow? Did they announce anything?
The fallout from Reigns versus
Roman
Joe.
and Joe.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The build up to the Fatal
Braun.
4-Way.
Yeah. Braun, Brock, Roman, and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, and
Good enough for me.
I thought you just call him Smojo, and I was like, that's a fantastic nickname. How come we haven't been using that for Samoa Joe? But,
so people are asking, Matt, in the chat, if you're done with GFW because your profile is not on their roster page anymore. That's something you want to address, or?
Well, no. Here's the deal. I made an agreement to wrestle with them on weekends, right, where I didn't have to leave my 9-to-5 job, anything like that, right? And unfortunately, it just didn't work out because they switched it and they started taping on weekdays, and they're looking to travel. So when I first talked to Jeff about this, the idea was, you guys are 20 minutes from my house. You guys are there on the weekends. As long as you guys are there on the weekends, I could do this. There's a couple times where I was needed early on during the week, but I couldn't because I can't let anything get in the way of my normal 9-to-5. And more they were just filming during the week. So it just wasn't going to line up properly. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I just wanted to help out the company because after a while, you just get sick of the people shitting on a company that at one time when I was there was really good to me, TNA, and was freaking star-studded roster at the time too, before I'd left, 4 years ago. And so if I could do anything to help them, that's what I was looking to do. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those deals that timing wise, it's just, I can't go on the road. That's part of my agreement with Jeff. You know what I mean? But if I truly want them to be successful, they need to go on the road. They need to go to India. They need to be taping during the week. So I'm happy for them in that regard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are asking about it. They're missing seeing you on there, but it makes sense. So the taping, the next one. So I guess they are doing it like Tuesday to Friday now, as opposed to the weekend.
Yeah. No can do.
Yeah. Matt, just pretend you want to go back to the WWE enough to get in the room with McMahon and just tell him everything that's wrong with this company. It'll probably be like,
hey, when does NXT?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
When does NXT do their tapings?
They do it. It's also during the weekdays.
Yeah, Wednesdays and Thursdays typically.
Yeah.
Just 1 day or 2 days?
1 day.
Yeah. But once a month. So yeah, they got the
That's very doable.
Yeah.
Use a sick day once a month.
Yeah.
For real, that's a lot closer too.
Yeah.
Than Universal. But there you go. And there you are. Right now I'm just concentrating on my show though, honestly. My physique show is August 19th.
That's right.
I'm less than 4 weeks out now. So
dude, you were looking
so
amazing.
Hard,
I mean, like a beast on those photos you were posting on Twitter and Instagram.
Thank you.
Nice. Well, cool. I guess that's about it. Not really much else news-wise that we haven't covered already.
And tomorrow night we'll also cover the fallout from the Kurt Angle, Jason Jordan reveal. Oh, good Lord.
For the record, I like it. We'll talk about it tomorrow, but I like it.
Okay, cool. We gotta let Matt go. He's got work in the morning. We got Wrap it up for tonight. So everyone follow Matt Morgan on Instagram, on Twitter, BP Matt Morgan, and check out Wrestling Inc. for all the latest wrestling news. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. We'll see you back here tomorrow night to talk about Monday Night Raw on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.
Take care, guys.
See you.